You are about to start something today, a decision, a conversation, a task, a plan that already feels heavier than it should. And before you move one more step, let this land clearly in your mind. If you start the day carrying everything alone, the weight will shape your choices. Control may look like strength, but it quietly steals clarity. Most mistakes are not made because people are careless, but because they move before they are centered. This is not about stopping your life. This is about realigning it. Right now is the moment where intention is formed. What you choose to place at the center of your day will quietly govern everything that follows. If you begin from pressure, pressure will answer you back. If you begin from trust, direction will meet you. This is not a ritual. It is a reset, a deliberate pause where you decide who leads and who follows. Before action comes posture. Before effort comes alignment. Stay here for a moment. Let the noise settle. Because what comes next is not about doing more, but about releasing what was never meant to be carried alone. You do not need to explain to yourself what feels off today. You already sense it. There is a quiet tension beneath your plans, a subtle urgency pushing you to move faster than your peace allows. That pressure is not always loud. Sometimes it disguises itself as responsibility, productivity, or the fear of falling behind. But pause and notice this. When the mind races ahead of the heart, clarity fades. When decisions are driven by haste, even good intentions lose their balance. This is where many days begin to fracture without anyone noticing. Not because something went wrong, but because nothing was grounded. You were never meant to wake up and immediately perform. You were meant to orient yourself first, to know where you stand before choosing where to step. Awareness is not weakness. It is the highest form of control, because it allows you to act instead of react. The moment you recognize what is stirring inside you, you regain authority over it. And authority always begins with attention. Here is the quiet truth most people resist. Control does not protect you. It compresses you. The tighter you hold the day, the smaller your vision becomes. You start managing outcomes instead of receiving direction. And without realizing it, prayer turns into a backup plan rather than a starting point. Letting God take control is not stepping into passivity. It is stepping into covering. Control says everything depends on me. Covering says I am guided, even before I understand. When you surrender first, you do not lose authority. You place it where it belongs. This shift changes how pressure behaves. What once demanded urgency now waits for wisdom. What once felt chaotic begins to arrange itself. You stop forcing doors and start recognizing openings. This is the difference between pushing through the day and being carried through it. And the moment you release the need to dominate the process, you gain access to clarity that effort alone could never produce. Before asking for answers, there is a more honest question to face. Who is leading this day, not in theory, but in practice? Every time you rush, avoid silence, or fill the space with noise, something is already leading. Stillness reveals that this is the moment where you choose posture over motion, where you stop negotiating with anxiety and decide to listen instead. Prayer here is not a list of requests. It is a decision of orientation. I will not move until I am aligned. This is where surrender becomes intelligent. You are not waiting for signs. You are clearing the interference. When the mind stops arguing, guidance becomes simple, not always comfortable, but always precise. This pause is not delay, it is calibration. And what follows calibration is direction that does not need to shout to be certain. Now the prayer begins, but notice how it starts. Not with asking, but with recognizing. You acknowledge that your sight is limited, but God's view is complete. That what feels urgent to you may be premature, and what feels slow may be protection. In this moment, you stop trying to convince God and allow yourself to be corrected. This is where strength becomes quiet. You release the need to understand everything before moving forward. Trust is not ignorance. It is discernment without obsession. As you place the day in God's hands, something internal loosens. The shoulders drop. The breath deepens. Not because the challenges disappeared, but because leadership has shifted. You are no longer carrying the weight of outcomes. You are carrying obedience, and obedience is lighter than control, because it was never meant to be carried alone. From this place of surrender, direction begins to surface without force. You may not receive a full map, but you receive enough light for the next step. Peace becomes the filter. If it demands panic, it is not guidance. If it requires you to betray your values, it is not wisdom. God's direction does not compete with anxiety. It replaces it. What needs to move will move at the right pace. What needs to wait will no longer torment you. This is where trust becomes practical. You start choosing responses instead of reactions. You speak with intention. You decide with restraint. The day no longer feels like something to survive, but something to walk through with awareness. Alignment does not remove responsibility. It orders it. And when order is restored, energy returns. Not frantic energy, but steady clarity that sustains you beyond the moment. Carry this posture with you as the day unfolds, not as a technique, but as an inner agreement. You do not need to announce it to anyone. You will feel it in how you move slower without losing momentum, in how you listen without preparing defenses, in how you decide without second-guessing every outcome. This is what it means to let God take control in real time, not retreating from action, but acting from alignment. When pressure returns, and it will, you will recognize it sooner. You will know when to pause, when to proceed, when to stay silent, and when to speak. This awareness becomes your anchor. And if this prayer reflects the decision you are making today, let it settle fully. Say amen with intention, not as an ending, but as a commitment to walk the day led, not driven. Finally, remember this as the day closes around you. Letting God take control is not a moment you visit. It is a position you return to. You will be tempted to reclaim what you surrendered, to measure progress by speed, to confuse movement with meaning. When that happens, come back to this center. Ask yourself whether you are acting from trust or from fear, from alignment or from urgency. The answer will always tell you what to adjust. A day led by God may still be demanding, but it will not be disordered. It may require courage, but it will not require panic. This is how peace becomes practical, not abstract. You do not end the day exhausted from carrying everything. You end it clear, aware, and grounded. That is what happens when control is released before action begins, and intention is placed above impulse.